You ever look around a fancy airport lounge and think, how did I end up here surrounded by silk suits and leather briefcases where the air is thick with privilege? Well, that was Marcus Thorne's daily reality, but it wasn't always like this. Just a few years back, he was scraping by a kid from the Bronx who believed the world he saw in those glossy magazines was only for others, not for him. The whispers of doubt were palpable. Friends would say he was dreaming too big, that he needed to settle for less. But there he was, the newly appointed CEO of Globalis Airways, an airline that was barely holding on. So picture this. Marcus is in the Globalis Sapphire Lounge at JFK, looking every bit the part of $1 million success story, but don't let the tailored suit fool you. When a first-class seat by the window was snatched away from him, all because a white passenger deemed him unworthy to sit there, well, that was a moment that would shake the very foundation of who he thought he was. It wasn't just about a seat. It was about centuries of systemic issues that lurked beneath the surface. Here was Marcus, a self-made millionaire forced to confront the reality that even at the top, someone could try to knock him down a rung. While the world watched, he prepared to define not just his identity, but the culture of an entire airline. The stage was set for a reckoning that would echo far beyond those gilded walls. My heart was pounding in my ears as I sat back down in that cramped middle seat, staring at the luxurious first-class cabin, a world that suddenly felt light years away. The whispers enveloped me like tendrils of smoke from a fire I couldn't extinguish. How can a man like him even think he deserves that seat? I could hear Carolyn's voice dripping with disdain as she exchanged smirks with Gary and Susan. Must be a favour from someone, huh? The shame burned hotter than the jet fumes wafting through the cabin. I felt in that moment, in every fibre of my being, the sheer weight of how they saw me, the black man in a tailored suit, the new CEO, and yet somehow still in their eyes less than. It was humiliation wrapped in every condescending glance, every smirk that was meant to mock my very existence. Don't worry about them, Marcus, I muttered to myself. This is just another day. But deep down, anger simmered, igniting a resolve that screamed for accountability. I took out my phone and texted my assistant, trying to keep my voice steady. We need to talk. Now! There was an unsettling electricity in the lounge as the passengers stole glances and whispers spread like wildfire. I could see the amusement in some eyes, an emboldening ripple of laughter behind their overpriced champagne. Look at him. Isn't he just adorable? Susan giggled, feigning annoyance as she nudged Gary. Every ounce of condescension piled like bricks atop my chest. But inside, I was building something else. A fortress against their hostility. It was then, with the weight of indignation pressing down on me, that I knew this wasn't just about a seat. This was about more than me. It was about justice. And it was time to make my stand. It's easy to feel brave when your life is cushioned by multi-million-dollar deals and plush corporate lounges. But let me tell you, that night when I hit send on that text to my assistant, it didn't feel courageous. It felt like jumping into a shark tank wearing bacon shorts. And let's be honest, I was about to swim with some seriously mouthy sharks. As I tried to step up and confront Gary and Susan, who appeared annoyingly entertained by my humiliation, I realized they had zero interest in listening. One smirk from Gary felt like an entire ice bucket dumped on my head. "Yeah, go ahead, CEO," he said, rolling his eyes. "Good luck with that. Great pep talk, Gary. Really motivating." I could practically hear the crowd's snickers, a chorus of "he'll never change them" echoing in my ears. Every time I tried to muster the resolve, every time I thought I could turn this clown show around, the barriers seemed to multiply. I felt like I was giving a TED talk to a room full of disinterested squirrels. Their privileged minds were as closed as a first-class seat, and I was just another unwelcome disturbance in their cozy, insulated bubble. But here's the thing. The very moment I thought about shrinking back there was this flicker of determination, like that annoying little light on your phone when it's about to die. Yeah, maybe I didn't have the power over them yet, but I had something better, the truth. And sometimes when you're at rock bottom, you've got nothing to lose, except of course that sour look from Carolyn Prescott that had just about wedged itself permanently on her face. So what if it felt like I was screaming into a void I was going to scream louder? And not just for me, but for every single time someone was shoved away while privilege snickered in the corner. It was time to harness this mess into the fuel I needed. Buckle up, folks, because the storm was just getting started. The air felt heavy. Thick with tension, it clung to Marcus like a second skin. Each whispered judgment, every upturned nose, it seeped into him. He'd always fought against the tide, but this was a storm. He exhaled sharply. Enough. The word echoed in his mind, growing roots, unfurling confidence in the dim light of the lounge. No longer just a victim of circumstance, he was rising from the ashes of humiliation. He caught the gaze of a shocked onlooker. In that moment he saw his own reflection and the man who endured, who survived. That man would not be silenced. Then came the tapping of heels. David Shaw entered like a gavel, falling. Murmurs abruptly halted. The veneer of entitlement faltered. Marcus felt it. A shift, a charge in the air. Marcus' surprise, he replied, each syllable stronger than the last. As he spoke, his words pierced through the complacency like a hammer striking glass. Today we redefine privilege. A collective breath held hostage. Maria Torres stepped forward. With a calm intensity, she unleashed the evidence audio-video, a damning record of what had transpired. Faces blanched. Each accusation was a slap, a stark reminder of their arrogance. Gary, Susan, Marcus said, steady, as the ground was quaking beneath them, "You've wasted your last chance. Pack your belongings." Their pleas, desperate and hollow, clashed against the unwritten law of consequence. This was power reversed, justice unveiled. The fire inside him ignited, filling his veins. For every ounce of indignity, he'd felt a surge of strength rose. He was unstoppable, no longer broken but reborn. And as the tension broke, the world shifted along with it. As the boardroom doors swung open, the tension in the air shifted. Marcus entered, his posture straight and confident, yet his eyes radiated a quiet strength and determination that commanded respect. The polished mahogany table reflected the overhead lights, mirroring the meticulous detail he had put into reshaping Globalis Airways from the inside out. A collective intake of breath filled the room as the shocked expressions of Gary and Susan shifted from disbelief to dread. Effective immediately, He began, his voice steady and clear. Gary and Susan are terminated for their behaviour. The words fell like echoes in the room, reverberating against the walls of complacency. Their faces turned pale, an unsettling realization dawning upon them. This was not just a company with an inclusive vision. It was now a fleet under the command of a man who understood the cost of silence. Outside the glass walls, the city loomed, a bustling testament to ambition and resilience. A backdrop to this pivotal moment. He continued, and Carolyn Prescott has been banned from all Globalis flights. Her miles will instead be donated to communities in need. The room pulsated with a mix of astonishment and relief. The tide had turned, and justice was being served. As Marcus extended a hand to David, their palms clasped in a firm, meaningful shake, a silent agreement to move forward to elevate this institution and dismantle its oppressive foundations. In the depths of his soul, Marcus felt a smirk emerge, not of arrogance, but of hard-won knowledge. I did it. Yet, as he stood there reflecting on the immediate aftermath, he recognized that this triumph did not erase his scars. They were etched upon him, reminders of a battle fought not just for his own dignity, but for others who might never have the same opportunity for redemption. The journey ahead would be difficult, but now, every painful lesson felt like it had finally come full circle, making not just the struggle worth it, but also the effort of rewriting a narrative that had long been dominated by privilege. As we land, we find ourselves reflecting on the turbulent journey of Marcus Thorne, a man who rose from the shadows of discrimination to wield power in his own right. What began as a moment of injustice transformed into a watershed moment not only for him, but for the very culture of Globalis Airways. In confronting the privilege that had long cultivated an environment ripe with entitlement, Marcus learned that power is not just about authority, but about responsibility. Justice and revenge often dance a complicated tango, don't they? Many argue that revenge can serve as justice, providing a sense of closure in a world that often feels grotesquely unjust. But does retribution heal the wounds of discrimination, or does it perpetuate a cycle of pain and division? Marcus stands as a living testament to the idea that the humble can rise, but with that rise comes the weight of the world. A weight that begs the question, is it more righteous to forgive those who have wronged us, or to seek accountability in the harsh glare of the spotlight? In a corporate culture where privilege often outweighs principles, Marcus chose the latter, but at what cost? As we reflect on this narrative of power, accountability, and societal expectations, I urge you to share your thoughts. Was justice served, or did the pursuit of revenge simply continue an age-old cycle? Your experiences and perspectives are invaluable. Let's engage in this necessary conversation.